Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. I'm still going through the Triggernometry interview with Dr. Calum Miller. This next section is called What About My Body, My Choice?
So, Callum, what would you say to people, particularly women, who say, well, it's my body, my choice? I am the one who's carrying this, and I can make the decision in order to have an abortion. And that is my choice and it's my right.
I think it's a natural thing to say, and I think there's certainly more than a grain of truth in it, in the sense that women, often in history and in many places around the world and in many places in the UK, don't have the right to basic bodily privacy. Whether it's forced sterilizations across the world, whether it's sexual assault or even rape within marriage, whether it's all sorts of ways that abusers control women. And with that context and so much widespread mistreatment of women by men, particularly about decisions relating to their body, you can easily see why there would be this defensiveness about a woman's body and her privacy and so on. And I get that, and I don't want to demean that in any way. What I'd say is that when we think about choice, we have to think about choice for everyone. And if the slogan is my body, my choice, we have to think about how many bodies are there. Now, if we believe the science on this, then there are two bodies. That's uncontroversial. There are two human bodies in the situation. And if that's the case, then what about the bodily autonomy? What about the bodily integrity of the child whose life is ended through abortion, or in later abortions is even dismembered in the way that I've described? I think that makes it much more challenging than to just say, this is my choice. I think all of us realize that choices can be limited in order to protect the vulnerable. That's why we've all been going around with masks on for the last 2 years, because we say in some cases, when there's such a severe threat and when someone is so vulnerable, we have to forego some of our choices in order to protect the vulnerable. And I think the same is true here, that no one has a choice to end the life of another human being. And this is why, the pro-life, pro-choice terminology is so unhelpful. I believe in choice. I believe that people should be able to do what they want generally. It's not as if I just think everyone should be controlled in every decision they make. But obviously, all of us think that choices have limits in order to protect other people. And so I'd say that the same is true here. It's a pretty simple principle. You should be allowed to do what you want, but that has limits when it comes to taking another human being's life. And I think the same principle is just true in this case.
Okay, now here they're moving on to the next section, but I want to kind of elaborate on what he said. If you're valuing choice, then for the woman, abortion is a single discrete choice in an entire lifetime of choices. But when she makes that choice, she's depriving another human being of an entire lifetime of choices. It's not, do we get Thai food or pizza tonight? And since her choice is Thai food, he doesn't get pizza on this one occasion. This is, the choice that you must die so that, and have zero choices so that I can make this one discrete choice. And the other point that he doesn't bring up, maybe because it's not as big a problem in the UK, is that it's very much a misunderstanding to assume that women are freely choosing abortion. And I've gone into this at great length. Their abortion sales tactics, lying to women to convince them to abort, women being pushed into unwanted abortions by family members or abusive significant others. There's actually very little free choice involved, I think, in probably a good 80% of abortions, because roughly 80% of women who were abortion minded to start with and get on a stork bus or go to a pro-life center, these abortion minded women, when you offer them other options, 80% of them say no, they don't want an abortion after all, which would mean that 80% of those women that don't have that contact with the pro-life pregnancy resources, 80% of them are not making a free choice. The maximum percent of women freely choosing abortion is probably 20% of the ones climbing on the abortion table. So that's something that really doesn't get covered here.